Hi everyone, this is APO Sports, and we are going to be doing a player spotlight for Aliyah Boston in this video. I am extremely excited about this one in particular. Outside of Caitlin Clark, this is the player that I've been most impressed with. This is the player who I think is the most valuable player for the Indiana Fever, not just for this season, but for all the seasons to come. And again, just taking Caitlin Clark aside, Aliyah Boston is, I mean, we're going to get into everything here, and I hope that I can explain to you the value of Aliyah Boston. It really does upset me whenever I see comments or when I see kind of people dismissing the value that Aliyah Boston brings to the Indiana Fever and to the WNBA. I even see lists where they have Kelsey Mitchell listed above Aliyah Boston, and I almost want to lose my shit because I just can't believe we're doing that. How are we doing that? And of course, I think there was another. I did a video on a recent podcast, in the Gil Arena, where Cheryl swoops in talking about Aliyah Boston. Right? She's trying to, but it seems to, kind of plant the seed to get Aliyah Boston to leave the Indiana Fever. But we have to do everything in our power to make sure that shit does not happen. That's number one. Number two, she, when talking about Aliyah Boston, she did give her flowers and said that she was the number one overall pick, which we'll get to that, which that happened last season. But said that she was the top 10. She was in the conversation for top 10 forwards in the WNBA. And here's what I'm telling you right now before we even start, because you're going to be impressed by the stuff that I'm going to show you about Aliyah Boston. But here's what I'm going to say off the bat. There is no player, and I've been watching the WNBA. This is the first season that I've been watching the WNBA. I've been watching, like I've said in many times in other videos, I've been watching the NBA since 1991 with the Bulls Lakers finals. So I've watched a lot of basketball. I've played basketball when I was in school. I've seen a lot of basketball. I've seen all the WNBA this season. There is no other player that I would pick outside of Caitlin Clark over Aliyah Boston in the entire WNBA. There isn't. There isn't. And you'll be like, oh, you're crazy. Yeah, oh, sure. You can go ahead. I don't care who you calling me. Call me crazy, call me delusional. You can turn this off right now. I don't care. Aliyah Boston is a key component of this future because the combination between Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston is going to be so dominant. It's going to be more effective, in my opinion, than the combination of Shaq and Kobe. This is truly going to be a monster, a scary, scary team. And I'm going to show you some comparisons here too, because I've compared her to a certain player, and we are actually going to look at the stats comparing these two players. I mean, I've compared her to an NBA player who's currently active, who is considered to be right now the best basketball player in the entire world. That is who I'm comparing Aliyah Boston to. And we're going to look at the numbers. We're going to look at, because you know how I do, you know how I roll. I show numbers. This is not just me thinking, although the first thing that I did was the eye test. Again, I've been saying, and I can show some tweets as to, and it might be here right now, but I'm going to show you a tweet where I say, I'm comparing Aliyah Boston. This is a while ago. I just looked at the stats today and it confirmed my eye test. But I can show you. Here's the tweet. And here's the date too about when I submitted that tweet that Aliyah Boston is Nikola Jokic. If she develops a three, it's over. It's over. But we'll compare some of those stats. And as always, we're just gonna start with going over a little bit of background. So Aliyah Boston was born, so she is from St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands. And it seems like she lived there for a while, I guess until she was, let's see, until age 12. And at age 12, She seems like she moved over. Well, it says here New England, so I don't know what this means. If that's Connecticut or I don't know, somewhere in New England. I don't know why. Whenever I think of New England, I think Connecticut, but of course, Boston and Massachusetts and all that. Um, which It'd be funny if she went to Boston, but I don't know if oh, she went to Massachusetts. So all that, yeah, super interesting. And then of course after high school in Massachusetts, she went to college in South Carolina, where she was killing it, super dominant, won an NCAA championship, and then here's a list of all the career highlights and awards of Aliyah Boston. I mean, I can't read them, but this is extensive as hell. So, WNBA Rookie of the Year. She was the unanimous WNBA Rookie of the Year last year. She's a two-time WNBA All-Star. She's a WNBA All-Rookie Team from last year, NCAA champion, like we said, NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player, Associated Press Player of the Year in 2022, Honda Sports Award 2022, Honda Broderick Cup, John Wooden Award, Naismith College Player of the Year, USBWA National Player of the Year, Wade Trophy, two-time Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, four-time Lisa Leslie Award. I mean, you get the point, right? I mean, I can keep going through that, but it's just overkill at this point. She has done it all. She's got an impressive resume uh, so far, both in college and the WNBA. She is a serious hooper. I mean, she's 6'5". She's a big body. She's super athletic. She runs. She goes up and down the court with Caitlin Clark. You see, she's keeping up. She's keeping up. It's not like she's getting tired, or she's running with Caitlin Clark. And people were accusing her, I think, early in the season um, for being out of shape, but I don't think she was expecting that the whole team was going to change to this crazy up tempo offense. So yeah, it seemed like she needed to catch up to get in the right condition to do that, because I don't believe that it was that she was out of shape, but before a season, kind of understanding how your team tends to play, then you train to prepare for that style of play. So she wasn't preparing for this to be for her to play soccer, which is kind of the pace in which the Fever are playing right now. So I think that's also unfair to her, um, to say that about her in that way. It took a while um, yeah, it took a while for them to gel. It took a while for them to come together, understandably so, and see where each player was going to fit in. She made a lot of sacrifices as well. I can see that, and we can see that in the stats. I'm going to show you as well that she made some sacrifices for the team, because that's just the kind of player that she is. She's a winner. Um, and one of the things that and I only feel this way about Boston. But one of the things about the fandom and the attention that Caitlin Clark brings, which is great, and now of course I'm part of that attention that Caitlin Clark has brought to the WNBA, to the Indiana Fever, to the sport, to everything like that. But of course, it's the fact that Caitlin Clark will always, or for the most part, be protected by the fans, as far as like, yep, it's not her fault. So then they'll try to find other people to point the finger to, and unfortunately, it seemed like Aliyah Boston was one of those players that was in the crossfires. But I'm telling you, if you're a super Caitlin Clark fan like I am, I'm here to ask that we don't do that to Aliyah Boston. I'm here to tell you that we embrace Aliyah Boston in the same way that we have embraced Caitlin Clark, and we protect her in that way as well. We need Aliyah Boston. We just do. We just do. And from everything that I see, she's also similar to Caitlin Clark in the way that she handles herself, in the way that she addresses the media, in the way that she is a selfless player, in the way that she wants to win and is willing to make sacrifices, even if that cost her numbers, because the number or the box score that matters to her at the end of the game, or at the end of the day, is the win or loss column. I can't say that same thing about Nalissa Smith, which we've been talking about, right? There have been games where Aliyah Boston has scored maybe 4, 6 points, and they won the game, and she was still doing the bow, bow, bow that she does with the same, with the same enthusiasm as if she had gotten 30 points or 40 points. Because that's just who she is, right? She's willing to make those sacrifices for the betterment of the team. But I think for next season, we need to start bringing those numbers back up and start involving her a lot more into the offense and into everything that the Fever are doing. There's one player that I think is clogging and trying to get in the way of those two, because this other player also wants to show that that she's at that level, but she's definitely not at that level. So this is just me pleading with all of you to embrace Aliyah Boston, because she is the real deal, and this combination is going to be scarier than Shaq and Kobe. So I want to show these comparisons real quick. Here we go. So I've gone to Basketball Reference, and I did a comparison. The first thing that we're going to look at is Nikola Jokic's rookie season versus Aliyah Boston's rookie season. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is going to be through 2 seasons in the NBA for Jokic and through 2 seasons in the WNBA for Aliyah Boston. And we'll compare the numbers. So you're going to see the crazy similarities. Again, I had not, before I started making the claims that Aliyah Boston was Nikola Jokic, I had not seen these numbers. You're in for a treat with these numbers that I'm about to show you. So let's check this out. You're not gonna gain much from this right here. And get to see this, but okay, you're not gonna get a lot from these numbers here for the total per game numbers, because the one thing that I'm going to show you is the disparity in minutes played, right? So Nikola Jokic was limited to 21 minutes per game, and Aliyah Boston played a lot more than that. Aliyah Boston played 31 minutes. So it skews these numbers a little bit, but you can still see some of the similarities. Yeah, Boston has 4 points, but wait till we get to the per 36 minutes. So here, and actually, you know what? Let's just skip this because you see the disparity. I want to compare minute for minute. So per 36 minutes, let's look at this. So here we go. Look at these numbers. Now, this is the craziest thing to me. Yeah, there we go. This is the craziest thing to me. Per 36 minutes, Aliyah Boston, Nikola Jokic. Look at these points per game. 16.7 to 16.5. Turnovers, identical. Blocks, almost identical. Steals, almost identical. Assists, even, compared against Jokic, who's a walk-in triple-double every time he steps on the court. And for his first season, per 36 minutes, he was doing really well. That's pretty similar. Rebounds, pretty similar. Offensive rebounds, nearly identical. True shooting percentage, nearly identical. Free throw percentage, not that much of a difference. 3-point percentage. This is cute. Boston didn't really take that many threes, and 40%. She definitely came down from that, but that's pretty similar. 2-point percentage, pretty similar. Even the amount of 2-pointers taken per 36 minutes is pretty glaring. So look at these numbers. These, if I didn't put the names here, who was Boston, who was Jokic, you would not be able to figure out who was who. But these numbers are crazy. Per 36 minutes. And then if I show you per 100 possessions, let me show you per 100 possessions. This is also crazy similar. So the offensive rating, so every time that I show lineups and lineup combinations, we always discuss the offensive rating and the defensive rating and then the net rating between those two. Look at the offensive rating and defensive rating for both Boston and Jokic in their first year, both in the NBA and WNBA. This is nearly identical. They almost play the same amount, they have the same offensive impact and the same defensive impact to their team. And look at the points. Again, 23.8 points per game to 23 points per game per 100 possessions. Turnovers, identical. Steals, identical. Of course, Jokic is going to have a lead on assists, but she's going to get better, much better as the seasons go along. And you already see that with the passes that she's making on the court in these last few games. Total rebounds, Jokic had a little bit more. True shooting percentage, nearly identical, and the rest of the percentages that we already looked at. And then I just want to look at advanced as well, and just everything is just so interesting to me. But these PER numbers, so player efficiency rating. Nikola Jokic is a monster right now. This is why he wins MVPs every year, right? Because of his player efficiency rating, which is through the roof. First season for Aliyah Boston, she had a higher player efficiency rating than Nikola Jokic and a better true shooting percentage than Nikola Jokic. But these are damn near identical numbers for rebounds, for offensive rebound percentage, for total rebound percentage, steals percentage, turnover percentage. Look at the usage percentage. I mean, she was used damn near identically to Nikola Jokic's rookie year. These are both players' rookie years. Like, this is just, to me, this is just insane of a comparison. And again, I hadn't seen these numbers. I had only seen, it was just the eye test where I was like, oh my God, what I'm seeing Nikola Jokic on the floor. And then once I pull up the numbers, sure as hell, it is Nikola Jokic. And after this, I just want to show you really quickly the first 2 years in the league. And here's one thing that we need to understand as I'm showing you the first 2 years in the league for each player. So Boston's minutes diminished where Jokic minutes went up. And what I mean by they diminished is that minutes per game came down for Boston. Minutes per game went significantly higher for Jokic from this to the second season from the first season that he didn't play that much. But of course, here, after you look at this, I mean, this was somewhat of a coming out party for Nikola Jokic as far as the impact that he started to have in the NBA from his second season moving forward. So here we have the per game numbers that don't tell us a lot, but some similarities here. As we see, the total rebounds pretty similar. Jokic improved from the free throw line in his second year. Boston struggled a little bit in her second year from the free throw line. 3-pointer pretty similar as far as percentages for their first 2 seasons. 2-point percentage pretty similar as well, with an advantage for Jokic, and the field goal percentage also pretty similar as we see here, because Boston took a dip and Jokic improved tremendously in the field goal percentage in the second season. And then we look at 36 minutes. So here's where Jokic took off, and this is where Boston was making sacrifices for the team. So it's interesting because from their rookie years, their second year looked very different for both. It was a very different development where Jokic was given a lot more minutes and Boston's minutes came down a little bit. It was a bigger adjustment for Boston because no one came into the Nuggets that was better than Jokic for his second year. So it's like, oh my God, they're just discovering now that Jokic is the real deal, right? He was drafted in the second round. No one knew that he was going to be this good in the NBA, and then they're like, oh my God, we need to give this person a lot more playing time. We need to give this person the ball a little bit more. And then for Boston, it was like, yeah, she's really great. She was unanimous rookie of the year, but then Caitlin Clark comes in and she has to take a little bit of a backseat trying to figure out what they're doing on the court. So I think that's why it explains the drastic change in productivity for Aliyah Boston in comparison to Nikola Jokic. But a lot of similarities still, just for the first 2 seasons. Yep, same thing over here as well with the offensive rating and the defensive rating. Not too much. So Aliyah Boston took a little bit of a hit on offensive rating and defensive rating, because remember the other season it was 120 to 104. Now it's 117 to 106. So she's just not playing with the right lineups on the floor. That's my take on this one, and not playing enough to have a much better impact. But this is all pretty similar. Jokic was turning the ball over a little bit because his assist went up like crazy, especially per 100 possessions. His assist numbers ballooned. And Boston improved in this area. I just think she's going to continue to get better here. And she's just better defensively also than Jokic. And we can see by the defensive rating. But yeah, no, it is scary. It's scary how similar these two players are to one another. This is what Aliyah Boston can develop to become someone exactly like Jokic. And I'm telling you, if she does that, if she, as the years and the seasons continue to go, she becomes more of that Jokic player, there's no stopping that Fever team. There just isn't. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just like having Jokic and Curry in the same team, and just that pick and roll between Jokic and Jamal Murray is already deadly. But replace Murray with Steph Curry, and that's pretty much what the Fever have. So I'm excited. Again, I'm glad that I was able to discover this and to be able to share it with all of you. Again, let's support Aliyah Boston. She, to me, is the second most important player in the entire WNBA. This is no disrespect to AJ Wilson. I think she's great. I think I compare her more to LaMarcus Aldridge. Maybe we'll look some. I don't really cover other players or other teams, but maybe this is an interesting exercise. As we compare LaMarcus Aldridge to AJ Wilson, because I really think that's more of her game, right? It's just hanging out in the mid range, and then LaMarcus Aldridge, like later in his career, was able to also develop a bit of a 3-pointer. Now Aldridge defensively is not what AJ Wilson is defensively, right? So I guess offensively she's LaMarcus Aldridge, but defensively she's better. I don't really know who she reminds me of on the defensive side, but offensively, which is really like if Wilson was just a great defensive player, she wouldn't be getting all the attention that she is, right? What makes her win all these MVPs and all this attention? Everybody's saying that she's the best player in the WNBA is her offensive game, and that is to me very similar to LaMarcus Aldridge into his game. No disrespect. That's just what I see. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's LaMarcus Aldridge. Nothing really exciting about LaMarcus Aldridge. She was pretty consistent. Yeah, it was good, but it's not Nikola Jokic, that's for sure. So anyways, yes, let's embrace Aliyah Boston. I think she's the future for the Fever. I think this duo is going to accomplish many great things together. I already have the vision of the two of them hoisting so many different WNBA championships and just changing the game. The WNBA, it's never going to be the same, right? Like, it's never going to go back to what it was because of what Caitlin Clark has done already in this season, right? As the seasons go on and we get more players in, we're going to be more invested in all of them, and I think we're going to embrace this league in the same way that we've embraced the NBA. And I actually think the WNBA might overtake the NBA in attention and ratings, which is crazy and something that no one ever saw coming. But I think Aliyah Boston is going to be also a pioneer in that, in just that her game is going to develop to some scary hours. And I actually think both Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston may be competing for MVPs, because that's where Shaq and Kobe were at some point in their careers. Because they're just gonna be that good. They're gonna be that good, that effective, and I just hope that they continue to get along, and I hope that the fans don't mess it up to the point that Cheryl Swoops is proven to be correct, which that will be a sad day indeed. But anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Hope you have a great weekend. I can't wait for the game coming up already. I can barely sleep. But anyways, again, thank you, and I'll see you next time.